So yeah, the perspective of this book, The Home We Build Together, he gave an analogy of three different types of houses that America or even the world could be. You could be, I think one analogy was a hotel where you're not really home, but you all are kind of living there in your own separate rooms, but no one ever feels at home. That's one. The other one was kind of like a palace that is owned by a king or some ruler that opens the doors and invites people to live in. They never feel at home. The ruler feels at home, and he constantly reminds the people that this is not their home, but they live there. And then the final one he gave was just a home that we all equally build together. We each have our own separate bedrooms or rooms that we live in, where we can live out who we truly are in the home. But then when we come together, say like in the common areas, we don't change who we are. We don't look down on those who are different from who we are, but somehow we use those differences to create a loving community. We use those differences to build something together. I felt like he took the words out of my mouth. That's what I'm talking about. I know that we as a people have gone through so much, and the systems in America and everything we're going through makes us feel there is no hope, that no one will ever change, that America will just always be in this dark space of racism and white supremacy. But I want to tell you, I don't believe we will ever heal this country if we all are fighting for supremacy, right? So as Black people, we're fighting for our voices to be heard, right? We're fighting to prove ourselves that we can be just as good as or better. I've even heard, though, conversations where Black people, in the name of fighting for equality, do it in a way that is hateful to white people or demeaning to white people. Please don't throw stones at me, because I know these are tense times for me to be talking about critiquing how Black people respond to racism, right? Believe me, I get it. I'm struggling too. But I feel like I want to do something that works, right? And we've been fighting this battle for so long, and I feel like sometimes we're not progressing. I really believe in Martin Luther King's concept of the beloved community. And it's going to take humility and a dying to self from all of us. No one gets to be the winner, and no one gets to be innocent in this. We all have to take responsibility. And so I feel like this book is so powerful, The Home We Build Together, because for me, I desire to build a home. Number one, America is the only home I've ever known, is the only home I will ever have. Like, I'm not moving to Ghana. This is my only home. And James Baldwin used to say, basically in a more summarized version of what he said, America's the only home I will ever know. So I gotta love it. I'm gonna critique it because I love it. And I feel like as Americans, Black or white or whoever you are, Native, Latino, we all are in this fight, and I feel like we're all doing it wrong. And I feel like the years after George Floyd's unaliving, the Black community got on a path of just fighting so hard for equality. Yes, we were definitely fighting for equality, but our hurt from what happened to George Floyd, because it represented what's always been happening to us, got mixed in some supremacy, like we're going to take over so you cannot do this to us again. I don't think that's the right way to fight it. And then white people are responding to that with, no, we are going to be in control. You will not take over this place. We will never have a Black president ever again. And so we're battling for supremacy and not equality. In The Home We Build Together, he is saying, let's stop fighting and let's just build together equally. No one being ashamed of or denying who they are, making the necessary changes in our character that we need to be better people, better human beings, but culturally, ethnically, how we look, how we experience the world doesn't need to change to be accepted, that we all see each other as equals. The pain of the Black person definitely can lead us to looking down on white people, those who've oppressed us. Especially when we continue to go through racism, we can allow that to begin to shape our minds into looking down on them. I've been reading a lot from Malcolm X, who I love, but the name, I'm not even going to say it here, the name he calls white people I don't believe that's the way God would have us to fight. Look it up so you can know what he says. They are human beings. I know they've hurt us, but they are human beings, right? We're all made in the image of God. In spite of how much we fail meeting his standard, we all are made in the image of God. And so I also feel that white people have got to free themselves from that constant belief that black people are inferior. And we've got to come to a place of building a home together. It's possible. It can be done. It's going to take not forgetting the past, but trying to heal from the past. And it's going to, and we cannot do it by ourselves. Martin Luther King's beloved community is struggling to exist now. It's been struggling since he passed. And I love how his family has tried to keep his legacy alive, but it is really under attack now because with everything we hear, everything that's going on, who wants to build a beloved community? But there is someone watching this video. Like again, like I said, I don't believe these videos are going to change the world or change the country. But I do believe one at a time, if we all have mindsets that change how we view others and really do some deep soul work on how what we feel on the inside is affecting how we relate to one another. There are white people who believe, oh, I have black friends. I even have black family members. My children have married black people. I work with black people. My best friend is a black person. I don't see black people as inferior. And I love to share stories. I'm going to share an example of how there could be a blind spot that you don't even realize is in your subconscious. In my work, I do a lot of consulting and speaking about diversity in the church and Christian schools and Christian organizations. And then some non-Christian spaces invite me in because there's a way I talk about it that's not so politically driven. It's just more from a more humanistic point of view. So I do speak a lot on this. And I've also founded a school. It's predominantly African American. We're very focused on respecting people's culture. So we have other students from other nationalities as well. But we learn about everyone. We don't just center black people. We definitely don't center white people. We center humanity, and by learning about all the different cultures and practices around the world with the hopes that I can create citizens of the world. And I've had so many Christian schools come to my events, invite me to speak. But I do know of other schools and organizations that do something similar, but they're led by white people. And even though we get together, we talk, we laugh, we see each other at conferences, and we've acknowledged that we share the same value, the same perspective on this. Many times, those white leaders of organizations that do something similar don't come to my events. If they do, they might come a little late, as if they're doing me a favor. They've never visited my school. They've never invited me to visit their school or organization. But they will, even though we're doing the same work, they will only really fellowship with the white people who are doing the same work, the white-led organizations serving diverse populations. And I just noticed that pattern, and it's a very subtle blind spot that people may not even realize, because way deep back in the mind is, she's not equal to us. We are the only ones who do this together, even though she's doing the exact same work and has led it just like us. We want to be the superior thought on this. We want to lead the way on this. Shout out to those who don't do this. Mwah, I love you. But there are those who do. And I see you. And my hope, though, is that God leads people to do some real deep soul work. Like I'm doing deep soul work. Where's my bitterness in my heart, in my mind, and how I relate, and how I navigate this really difficult time we're in? Lord, let me reflect your unconditional love. Let me not do this in my own flesh, because if I did it in my own flesh, it would not be godly. I promise you that. But we all got to do it. We can't just say black people have to forgive. Black people need to heal and forgive, but so do white people. And we all need to be delivered from something, because we've all been scarred by this demon of racism. And I really feel this book, The House We Build Together, us humbling ourselves and building together, is the answer.